Welcome to another edition of the Game Sports Podcast, powered by 91 Network. I'm David McCaig, host of the game. I'm going to be joined by Justin Hykel in this episode, and we are going to get into a lot of items in the world of sports, including hockey, such as the NHL upcoming season, new captains, and we're also going to dive into both the MLB and the NBA, including Vince Carter finally getting his jersey retired by the Raptors and the MLB wildcard and playoff picture. And lastly in the episode, Justin and I are going to be kicking it off with our In the Pocket segment and also getting into our Week 4 Pick'em. Let's go. Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Podcast. It is your host, David McCaig Jr. I am joined by the one, the only, with the best background of all time, the one and only, Justin Hykel. Justin, my friend. How's it going?
What's going on, Dave? Good to be back. Good to be here talking sports again. I mean, we're a couple days away from Sports-tober, but the itch is starting to go. Football season's going on. Baseball playoffs are scratching into our minds here, especially Tigers fans. And hockey season. I mean, preseason's on as we speak, so it's a good month coming up. And Canadian Thanksgiving for the pie lovers out there.
There is so much. And if people are asking about why I talk about Justin's background a lot, there's multiple reasons. I want to explain there's the X-Wing just above him to the corner, to the back there. And they're also, depending on how you're looking, there's the Joker. If everyone knows, I'm a massive Joker fan. Don't ask, just doesn't matter. There's also, can't see his containers up on the top, but like
you can't really see it right there, but that's from episode 1, those droids that roll up in the ball.
Yeah,
that's what that is there. That's the ATST, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Gotta love it.
Luke's helmet up there.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't know how far the screen goes, but there's a water bomber right there.
Right above it. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's followed this through the history of us being on video, but occasionally I transform the Optimus Prime up there. And so sometimes he's a transport and sometimes he's a robot.
And also, if you're listening to this on audio, you're missing out. That's why we're showing you this on video.
We got a tour.
Yeah, so if you want to actually see it, I'm guiding you to come check us out on video. As you would have heard the intro, we're on the 91 Network YouTube channel. Just a little...
Honestly, I feel like one night I should just take a couple pictures in here so everyone can see the whole shebang.
It is absolutely gorgeous in that background. That's the word I'm going to use. I don't know why. That's the word of the day I'm going to use. I don't think that's the word you want for it. I think the word
fine.
You want is sick.
I appreciate it.
It's awesome. And my two favorite things is that X-Wing and that Joker poster, but everything in that room is cool. Okay. Now, I like my background too. There's definitely been improvements in my background. I used to like just plain, but
you got the Death Star up there.
I do. Right here, the Death Star, massive gift. I don't know how much you can see it. Let's put him up a little bit there. There we go. I'm going to be changing this a little bit now.
Bichette, thinking about what he did over there this season.
Yeah, that's funny that you pointed that out. I actually turned him around on purpose. I decided to keep him up, but that's the Bo Bichette. And there's also an office thing there. There's a lot going on in our backgrounds, but mine's going to be getting updated. I'm trying to keep up with Justin's there as we go.
That's the office from The Office right there. You can't really see much of it, but it's like a complete Lego office if you look.
Gotta love it. And like I said, if you're listening to this on audio, you're missing out. That's why we're talking about something on video, which sometimes they push against. But today we decided, you know what, we're going to talk about backgrounds to open the show, so you can come out and check us out on the video side of the show. Okay. Now there's a lot that I want to get into the show in just a short little time. So obviously you heard what the agenda is if you heard the opener. But I do have an announcement to share on our podcast here today. For those that are located in Sault Ste. Marie, you will likely understand this a little bit more. If you're outside of the Sioux, then we'll give you a brief explanation. The Game Sports Podcast will be joining the community platform called Spaces. We have been offered to join the space. I have connected with the individual, the representative there, Lacey, for the past little bit, back and forth in discussions. And yesterday it was official that we were offered to be on Spaces. That is a program through Sioux Today, a platform through Sioux Today that is going to be a community hub for podcasts and for those locally in Sault Ste. Marie under specific categories. Now, people will ask, what is 91 Network then? 91 Network is a separate thing. It's a YouTube channel that is a platform that is all of us that work together through the game and through the Bitter Rivals podcast and so on that have our video content. Spaces is going to have a little bit of a different feel, and it's going to be an interactive platform for you to join. If you're in Sault Ste. Marie, or even if you're outside the Sault, from what I understand, you're able to log into it as well. So it's definitely going to be a very big step for us here on the show, and we're very excited to be part of the Spaces community, because that's what it is. We want the podcasts here in this community and outside. It's great that there are platforms that are offered like this, and we're very excited to be part of Spaces. That is a great family to be joining, especially Sault Today. That is definitely a very great name to into Spaces and tie into within the Game Sports podcast. So that is the announcement. There will be more details as that comes to near. We don't know what date officially that will be just yet, but we are working on that. We expect within the next month or two, likely, that we'll be getting on there, but they're ironing out their end. And once everything's ironed out, the game will be on there for you to enjoy, and we'll have all that link in detail for you. So step forward for the game. Very excited. There's been a lot of big steps forwards the past few years for us, and we're very excited about this. So make sure you subscribe to Spaces when that comes available. Spaces in capitals. Just search it even on Google right now, or go to Sault Today, and you'll get some information that they have briefly on it right now, leading up to the launch of the Spaces community platform. Okay, so that is one announcement I want to make sure that I had. Obviously summer has passed, Justin. We are entering fall, and I'm a big summer guy. People know that I love the heat. I don't mind getting some rays. I don't mind being on the pontoon boat. Before, if I sold my Sea-Doo, I would love to be on my Sea-Doo as well. But I love the summer, love being out of camp in the summer months. But a lot of things to look forward to in the fall and winter. One, when it comes to the fall, the Sault is beautiful. The fall is a beautiful season. Yes, I said it. It is really nice. And when it comes to winter, you think of a couple things. That is men's league hockey and the winter sports, and also sports in general, but hockey is just around the corner as well. But also, as we lead into the fall, getting into near winter, it doesn't happen in the winter, but obviously baseball playoffs, as you allude to. So there's a lot of good things, but we're here on September the 24th recording. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, after all the years of listening, or if it's your first time listening, yes, it's a pre-recorded program. The stuff that we're going to get into in this roundtable is going to be about the NHL. We're going to get into a little bit with the NBA, and we're also going to get into the MLB. Just because Connor is unable to join us tonight, Alex is unable to join us tonight, and EJ's unable to join us tonight, Justin and I have done a little bit of a revamp to this one segment today.
Not so much of a round table, more of a booth for two.
Booth for two. And I'm having my water. Usually I have a other drink, but today I felt like some high quality H2O in light of Adams.
I got an orange pop today.
We have the appropriate beverages today. Justin, what I want to get into first, obviously, as we're talking about, I think it's fair to get into, obviously, preseason has started in the National Hockey League as the hockey season nears. Puck drop is Friday, October 4th, technically, between the Devils and Sabres in Prague. And, they have a back-to-back game on the Friday and the Saturday. That is 1 p.m. and 10 a.m. respectively between the two times. Early starts if you want to get a start to your season. Obviously, the Devils are looking back, trying to look to have a bounce back season under new head coach as well, someone who's very familiar to those who love the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sheldon Keefe is there in New Jersey. And Buffalo, there's a team that is just trying to find that identity and get out of that gutter. They're trying to get into the playoffs. I thought this team had so much promise. Maybe this year they show that. But puck drop is the 4th and 5th, Justin. Then after that, we don't see puck drop until the 8th, where there's three matchups. And then on the October 9th is where you get to see some of the Canadian teams get into action. That's Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Vancouver, the Winnipeg and Edmonton. There's some games on that October 9th that are going to be going on. So we're not going to get into a season preview, Justin, because we're going to plan that for kind of technically next week and for the show after that to kind of get into all that. But as the season nears, Justin, and preseason's here, are you getting that itch? Are you ready for puck drop?
I mean, I was probably in mid-season form after Berube's press conference after the preseason game the other night. But I mean, not to focus on one thing. It's really good to just see hockey going again. I mean, there's a big gap. It's not really a huge gap. It's not like an NFL gap in between the draft and when the season starts. But you still, you see these young guys get drafted that you've watched play minor, or you've watched in the juniors, or wherever you've watched them play college. And you kind of want to see how that piece is going to fit on your favorite team. And maybe not on your favorite team, maybe on another team. I mean, Macklin Celebrini the other night looked pretty good. I mean, it's just preseason, but it's also not just preseason, it's NHL hockey.
Yep.
So,
And
I mean,
I thought this was a first, like a draft this year where that first overall was so shadowed by what the first overall of the year prior was, obviously. And you wonder, right? It's like, okay, he's not generational. What is he going to be? Macklin's going to be a very good hockey player.
but I find lately that's almost the better for these guys to come in.
Yeah.
Like they come in and they don't have that pressure on them.
Yeah.
Also, from a selfless collector's perspective, they're not going to juice the price of the boxes of cards when I want to buy some cards so I can get rookie cards. Who the fuck wants to pay $400 for a box of Upper Decks to maybe get Connor Bedard? Not this guy, all right? Not this guy. Couple Matthew Nyes in my pocket, but Bedard, good luck out there. But no, it's just, I don't know. It's a fun time of year. You're getting the fantasy drafts going. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, you should have that moment where he's on this team now, he's on that team now, and you're starting to get those lines rolling in your head. Example: we have a John Tavares, Max Capoletti's third line going on right now. If someone would have told you that 2 or 3 years ago, would no,
no.
Sounds pretty good on paper. We'll see how it plays out, but it's just exciting.
And like age is not the way that it kind of used to be. I don't mean that in a different way. It's like if you think back to the early tens, the thousands, what you thought of someone 35, 36, they had a different role on the team. Okay. And the guys that were able to handle that still rough and tough and go and score goals. It was different hockey then, obviously. But 35, 36 now, if you're a natural goal scorer and find the zone and able to find those good areas on the ice, get into the open spot and shoot the puck, have a good release, typical, that they'll still have success. That's why the Pacioretty's, the Tavares's, right? These guys, and I'm mentioning just Toronto guys, but the list goes on from there. It's not just Toronto guys, but they're still successful in this league because they can score goals.
We're kind of seeing the fruits of the early lockout changes, where the game got faster and there was less crashing and banging. And I mean, there's enough to satisfy everyone, but these players, these guys that are 35, 36 in the league, they've taken hundreds less hits than the guys that came before them. So it allows them to have a little bit more time on the back end of their careers. I mean, certain players have injuries and stuff like that, and everyone's body's different, so you can only go so far. But you have like these Tom Brady, like mutant kind of people, like that just diet and train and the game. Yeah. Like they can go till they're 40, and it's not like, look at this guy, the oldest guy in the league. He's a living miracle. 38 years old. No, we're not doing that anymore.
No, and we talked about Crosby last week, and there'll be a clip shared before even this is uploaded from last week. We saved it for post up as preseason started on purpose, but the Crosby is a different animal. We talked about this last week, but this is someone who is still fitting into the league very nicely. Malkin. Yager just retired. The guy's in his 50s. Okay. Like the game is different. And if you stay in shape and you're able to keep up, it is different. Guys throughout the league, as they are built different, the game is built different than what we're accustomed to from our generation, that being mine and Justin's, because Justin and I are fairly close in age. If you're somebody who is born in the thousands, you've seen hockey in a different light. We've been able to see it in a different light. Heck, people before us, when it comes to some of our older cousins or even our parents, they've seen a different level of hockey, and the game has grown so tremendously. And that's what has allowed the game to have the veterans in there and be successful. You can call the game what it is. It's softer now or not as tough as it used to be. Sure. I agree. It isn't. Like used to get slashed in the wrist and they didn't call anything, but the game has changed to allow that skill to flourish more.
It is and it isn't. I mean,
yeah,
people aren't getting maimed out there anymore.
Scott Stevens and Paul Correas, you don't see that too often.
But at the other hand, I mean, everyone's shit's moving a lot faster out there too. So when these guys just bump into each other, like sometimes people get the brains like, yeah. I mean, you're not getting your head getting punched in was replaced with your head smashing into the boards at 90 mile an hour. Well, not 90, but you know what I mean. Like some of these guys are nuts. They just go into the boards head first. Let's figure it out. Dare other people to hit them, and there's still a couple dicks out there that are gonna hit them. It's the way it is. that's the game. That's why it's fun. That's why it's a game. That's,
It is, and it's this. What we're seeing right now on the ice is preseason. You see how people don't try. Some of the veterans are
People are
just going
trying.
right. They are, and it's. I've talked about this on the podcast where I think football does it perfectly, right? And we're going to have In the Pocket on here very shortly as we continue to our next topic shortly here before In the Pocket. But football has the breaks in between. And that's why when you get the season, you get so excited for it. But football is a different animal, different sport. Its hits are different. The game is different. They're getting hit every play. Everyone's getting pushed and hit every play. In hockey, you're not getting hit every play. If you get the puck, you're getting hit. But if you're a guy who's a grocery stick on the bench or you're just a defenseman, you're blocking. The game is different. Each sport is different. Baseball,
you still can't stand around. You got to move.
Yeah, you got to move. If you don't move, you're not going to get far. Literally, I mean that in multiple ways. But what I want to say, just for news around the hockey league, obviously there's some captain announcements that happened since we've talked. Justin Hykel and Radko Gudas. Now, people texted me about the Radko Gudas nonsense. Okay, so knowing me as a Toronto fan, as you don't see any jerseys up right now, there's still the Vlad represent. Pay the man. Pay the man. Sorry, I had to yell that. Anyways, back on point. Radko Gudas named captain in Anaheim. Look, Anaheim's a different. Nick Foligno, yes, deserving. I think he's been a leader before. He's been in the league a long time. They have a young team. Makes sense. Groom Bedard. I thought maybe they'd give Bedard the C, but okay, that'll come within the next couple years. Talk about Radko Gudas. What he did to Joseph Wall in the playoffs a couple years ago, if you're talking about Toronto fan, look, that happened. That's pure emotion. And last year, if you watched Toronto beat the absolute living life out of the Anaheim Ducks. It was near 10-0. I don't remember the exact score, 8-9 or 10-0, whatever it was. And Gudas got asked to fight multiple times. And he went to go try to fight Nylander, I believe, or somebody else. And then Reeves, that changed real quick. So he got the revenge game already happened, and Gudas walked out of that rink with his tail between his legs, okay, because he was, despite the win, he didn't win the Cup with Florida that year, okay, and he wasn't with Florida last year. He watched Florida win this past year. So anyone text me about the Gudas captaincy? There's multiple of you. Yeah, I was surprised by the choice, but I don't care. If I'm a Leaf fan, I don't care. And maybe he is a leadership guy in that locker room. And I've heard based on media and based on player interviews that he is a good fit for the role. So obviously the Ducks saw something in him that maybe Leaf fans don't.
I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with his shenanigans. I mean, if you go back on previous podcasts in the heat of the moment, I'm sure I had an issue with it. I will fully even call myself out on that. But I think it's a great move. He's a guy. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? He's almost a modern day Sean Avery in the sense that he can be a pest, but
minus the off ice act.
Yeah, there's not the added other stuff going on there. But honestly, I think if you're looking for someone to police a locker room, get these young guys, because it kind of does seem like maybe there was a bit of the inmates running the asylum in Anaheim last year.
And let me ask, you wouldn't want him on your team?
I'd take him 100%.
There we go. Okay, that was my point with it, right?
I'd take Gudas over Reeves 10 out of 10 days of the week.
10 out of 10 days, as I ruined my hair, which doesn't really matter.
There's been like an inside joke with a select group of people where we've been sending Scott Steiner memes to each other, so people will get the math there. Some people will get that math.
So the NHL is going to begin, and like I said, we did spend about 12, 15 minutes talking at a time, but that's good. That it was just chatting in general to just excite the season. There will be a full season preview show. We have some plans for that for you. And I think that's a good segue for me. I didn't talk about the beginning because the intro was a little bit longer. We will have another member joining the Game Sports podcast family, and won't mention his name or say anything. I'll wait till his name joins us. He is from the Greater Toronto area. That someone will be joining our official team. And no, if you're going to say, is it Luke Gazdick or Kelly Rudy? No, those are just friends of mine. They're still working or they're working. I didn't take them from their current jobs. Okay. They just come on the show as guests, including Luke in particular. So nonetheless, we do have somebody else from the Greater Toronto area who's been involved in the sporting world that's going to be joining our crew on the hockey side, on the already very stacked hockey side. But that's what's going to bring you, the viewer and or listener, a different experience on each show. And we're very excited to have him joining us, either if it's next week or the week after. So that segues out of hockey to our next topic, NBA. I only have one topic in terms of the NBA that I want to mention. Justin, I'm not going to throw you under the bus like Butch Davis did when he asked you about the Cleveland Cavaliers general manager how many years ago. But there was something that I had, and you could check clips on TikTok, social media, and I'm not saying I like to go out when I have the opportunity. That I said there's one jersey that the Raptors should be retiring first, and it better happen this year. And that is Vince Carter. And I don't know if they listened or they listened to the other millions of people that talked about it on other shows, because I wasn't the only one. But I'm very happy that the Toronto Raptors will be retiring Vince Carter's jersey. It's long overdue. I know the departure from Toronto wasn't ideal, but this is somebody who put the Toronto Raptors on the map when they came into the NBA, and they grew and they brought him into the Raptors organization. He developed and he was the face of that team. And he didn't spend his career there. He didn't. You're right. He went on and had a career
until like a year ago, didn't he?
Yeah, he played for a long time in his career, and he had a very successful career. And he always called Toronto home unofficially. He loved coming back, and I loved to see when he did come back in his last year, the love that Toronto showed him, because deep down we've always loved him. And if you didn't have that purple Raptors jersey as a kid, okay, the 15, because I know I did. It said Carter on the back.
Or the backboard in the front of the garage there.
Or the basketball that you used to buy for them. You're lying to me if you're a Canada boy, because you did have that, because Vince Carter was all over the place. Heck, even if you're American or European, it doesn't matter. You probably still had something Vince Carter, because Vinsanity was a face in the NBA, and not only that, he was the face of the Raptors franchise, and I'm very happy that he's getting his number retired. Now, after Vince Carter, we know who has to be next to go up there.
Is it Jonas Valanciunas? Primo, pasta and sauce. That's all I remember is that fucking commercial. Primo, like pasta and sauce.
He looks like Travis Kelce a lot too. That's maybe for another conversation.
He's not even like a Kirkland or a Great Value. It's like a no name, if that's what you're doing there, like a yellow brand. But
Kyle Lowry.
I'm going to jump in on the retro thing just quickly.
Yeah.
Memphis doing a Vancouver Grizzly throwback jersey this year.
Hot damn. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Love that.
I will definitely maybe consider purchasing one of those with no name on it, because I don't really have a favorite.
But Valanciunas for fun.
I mean, I don't think Tyrese Halliburton's going to the Grizz anytime soon, so I don't know what else to say.
Now, Kyle Lowry was the other guy that I want to see up in the Raptors. That was somebody that they traded for a first-round pick from the Rockets. When they brought him in, everyone was very critical of why they brought him in. Why this guy? Is he going to change everything? Right? You had DeRozan, you got Lowry, you got the crew there, and obviously DeRozan was the one that was sacrificed for Kawhi Leonard and the Lombardi Trophy. As I sit here,
it's the Larry
O'Brien, as I sit here and say the Lombardi Trophy. We're talking football shortly here.
We're talking trophies.
We're talking trophy. So when it comes to Larry O'Brien Trophy, okay, that is what the trade was for Kawhi Leonard. DeRozan and obviously Portal, and a pick went the other way, but DeRozan for Kawhi and the Larry O'Brien.
The Thanos thing.
You had to sell. You had to sell the soul, and you got the soul stone, right? That's the way it went there. And the memories with Kawhi Leonard, that season was just legendary. It was just legendary. It almost was the effect of what Josh Donaldson had on the Blue Jays when he won his MVP season. They made the playoffs those years, except they just didn't win, right? Kawhi was that difference maker, and you need that difference maker to win.
I was going to say, basketball. Like the bat flip is almost like up there as probably one of the most popular moments as the shot. And if you look at like the history and like the moments of the teams, like the bat flip was the moment. That was it. That was it for that run there.
That was. And it was
like
fantastic.
The shot, that was like, that cemented the deal that, really they were probably winning. But
it's about time, Toronto, though. I'm talking Raptors, for putting Vince Carter up in the rafters. Okay. And Kyle Lowry's next.
One of those statues out in front of the ACC with him.
I think when it comes time, there needs to be a statue like how there is for the Leafs with the row. The Raptors need to have something there. Vince Carter has to be on there. Chris Bosh needs to be on there. Kyle Lowry has to be on there. Heck, why not DeMar?
Maybe not about DeMar.
But you put that
Lowry for sure.
That trophy in Lowry's hands with Kawhi beside him. That's the type of statue that we need to see. Is it going to happen? No, but there needs to be a legends acknowledgement to the people that were part of that championship team and were part of it. Kawhi was there for 1 year, but if it wasn't for Kawhi, that wouldn't have happened. My goodness, legend. And Nick Nurse. Masai Ujiri is going to be on that stat or that Legends acknowledgement, whatever that may be. If it's a statue or a wall, whatever they do. But Vince Carter's going to be on there. But anyway, Vince Carter is going up into the rafters. Next has to be Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is actually probably the most legendary Raptor of all time, arguably next to Vince Carter. If it's closer, I'll leave you to the listeners and viewers to debate who you think is the most legendary one. Sorry, I do think it's Vince because of how he put them on the map. But I understand your point with Kyle because he won. But it's not just, it can go either way.
Two different generations, to be honest.
It's so great to see. And if you would have told me that I would have saw a Raptors championship before a Leafs or Jays championship, I would have told you you're crazy. But it happened, and it's one of the best sports moments I've ever experienced. So thank you to Kawhi for having that, and to Kyle and all the crew there that was there on the Raptors that season. But Vince Carter, his name is going up in the rafters finally. Thank you, Toronto, for listening to the fans, because I'm sure we had something to do with it, because you didn't seem too quick on wanting to do that, and it seems finally it is happening. I am going to be watching that ceremony. Heck, I'm going to try to get tickets to go. Good luck. Not going to happen. Media passes. Here we come. No, just kidding. Next up, MLB, before we get into football, Justin. I know we're getting into the extra time, but for baseball, I'm not going to get into too much time here, but I said I wanted to discuss it because in Connor's absence. Baseball, the playoff picture is really starting to line up. You're starting to see, obviously, the Yankees are going to make it. They've already for sure clinched a wild card spot, but they're going to win their division, it looks like, as the season hits to a close. You have the Cleveland Guardians who have clinched their division. The Houston Astros really battled back this year. I thought they weren't going to make it. The Rangers even started battling back, but the Tigers, that's why I was hoping Connor Henderson was going to be here. He's a Tigers fan.
Talk about them this week.
Lots of talk this week about them. You cannot, the percentage of what they were for the odds of making the playoffs were crappy. Okay, and they make a trade to get rid of Flaherty at the deadline. They make a move, and things just kept progressing for those Tigers. And they are 8-2 in their past 10 since we're recording right now. And the Tigers have a chance to make the playoffs. They're right now, if you open up the standings, as I open up officially to you so I can give you accurate information, are holding the second wild card spot. Okay, so with them holding the second wild card, you got a wild card position that is filled out with the Orioles. You have the Tigers, and you have the Royals. Sorry, a lot to say at the end there. Minnesota just creeping up. Obviously, the Blue Jays are nowhere to be found if you really want to know. But also, another team that's not nowhere to be found is Chicago White Sox. God, they're horrendous. But the Detroit Tigers are in the picture right now, and it is great to see. That's very exciting. If you're a Detroit fan, I would be amped. Surprise story, though. The Atlanta Braves are on the outside looking in on the playoffs now in the wild card picture. They are 85-71, a game and a half back of the Diamondbacks for that last wild card spot, and it is not looking good for the Braves to get into the playoffs. That would be massive failure for a team that is stacked, that has spent a lot of money, and it tells you that baseball is just a very unique sport overall. But I want to give my love to the Tigers here. I wish Connor was here to give them a bit more love and get into the dissection of everything, but also wanted to point out how bad the White Sox are, as I do that every week. Pay the man, to Vlad Guerrero, and to also Atlanta Braves for looking on the outside, because did not predict them to be on the outside looking in. And thumbs up to the Brewers. Been to that ballpark. I've seen them. I love the fans there. They bought me beer when I bet the guy on Alejandro Kirk hitting a home run. I bet guys, so that would have been 4 beers for me to buy that he hit a home run, and they had to buy me and my wife 2 beers each, so 4 beers. And Kirk, next pitch, hits it out of the park, and they paid up their beer. And they actually own a brewery outside of Milwaukee. It's called Lake 11 Brewery. I didn't know that until after they bought me a beer. So you know what? Small world. Brewers, where I was sitting behind people that bought me a beer that own a brewery company. Amazing. Good story from me to you in terms of baseball. We'll have baseball for sure next week. I hope and plan right now to have Connor on that show as we hit the playoff picture. Justin, there's the round table. I take a quick breath because I just wanted to take a breath. There's a lot that we had to get into, and I thought that would take a little bit less time for us, but there was multiple topics to touch on this week. So it does eat up into our football time a little bit, but that's okay. So we are going to transition now to In the Pocket. So the In the Pocket segment in our 8th season, longest segment on the show, and it's going to be our segment on the show forever. In the Pocket has definitely been key thing to the Game Sports podcast, along with hockey at the beginning days, as we did phone on a cup. If you're watching on a video, that's what you get to see right now. Again, you're missing a lot if you're only listening on audio. Not that I'm promoting just our video content, but today there's a lot of video getting shown here between Justin and
video shenanigans.
Video shenanigans. But we're going to get into football. Justin, I don't want to talk too much about this previous week. I'd rather just dive into this upcoming week, but I want to give our feedback on this week, just maybe a hot point that you want to bring up from this past week, and I'll do the same.
Well, we all got to eat a little bit of crow on the Carolina Panthers. And the Giants.
I cannot. That is bullshit. That is rigged.
Hey, I said the Red Rifle, you got to watch out. But and I don't want to pile on EJ and the Browns at all, but I mean, the Giants won too. So we did a lot of shit talking last week about them sending that game to Germany, and that might be one of the team's first wins. And here we are. Both of them won last week. So I will acknowledge that we were wrong, very wrong.
As were other people. I think other people would be wrong too. And if they say that they weren't, reach out.
Yeah, but other people just picked them in their pools. We openly criticized them. So here we are.
Yep. You're wrong.
Bad luck for Bryce Young, though. If Carolina pulls that off with that offense and a different quarterback.
How do you think he truly freaking feels? You got to think that confidence took even more of a hit. You got to think deep down the Carolina Panthers like, shit, I wish we would have got absolutely spanked. Like, I wish we would have gotten killed.
I wish we wouldn't have traded the Chicago Bears, their entire starting offense, for Bryce Young. But anyways.
Well, I'll guess what I'll bring up for this week. That's a great one to bring up, Justin. I would think what I was a surprise to me is the Jacksonville Jaguars being 0-3. I didn't really anticipate that with Lawrence, and I'm a fan of Lawrence, and that's one where I figured that are they going to get revived? What's going to happen there? Does there need if they lose a couple more games? Is there going to start being more changes in Jacksonville? Because they've had a lot of rough times, and they were looking optimistic for the future, and things are not as good. And the other thing that I'll mention, because I called this on my picks, Sam Darnold, baby. Okay, Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold. Okay, that guy, the Jets must feel like the worst. Okay, like I love football. It's like any other sport where like a player leaves and they go do better. Baker Mayfield was in Carolina before. He was also on the Browns. I need to kick on EJ, but let's say that. Sam Darnold, right? The list goes Justin Fields.
Did Sam Darnold not play in Carolina too?
Yes, he did.
So like maybe. Like, there's something to be said here that, like, certain teams actually just ruin players.
He threw 181 yards for 4 touchdowns. Not big yardage, but what does that tell you? Efficiency.
He's an efficient game manager.
And on the ground, Aaron Jones, 102 yards. No touchdowns, but 102 yards of rushing. Receiving, Justin Jefferson, 81. Aaron Jones, 46. You had Naylor had 31. You had Powell at 13. Distribution amongst the field, right? There was also an interception. There's a couple interceptions on defense that really helped turn over the offense. And 34-7 is a very convincing win over the Houston Texans that were 2-0. Okay, look, Sam Darnold, the thing is working right now. If you do have him, though, in your pools, sell high. I think you should sell high. I don't know if he's going to keep this up. I hope he does, though. I love the storyline that if he does. So Jacksonville and Minnesota are the 2 points I want to bring up for this week for me. It's wild.
Hot rumor on the X-verse in the last little bit. Bill Belichick linked to the Jags for next season. I don't know if there's any factual information to that, but it's trending currently.
You got to suspect that Bill Belichick is not done from football. And there's got to be Tom Brady had his project where he left the Patriots and went to the Bucs. And he brought Gronk. He brought some weapons with him, attracted some weapons, either way you want to look at it. And he won, but it's Tom Brady. Okay. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are a team that were destined for change. Bill Belichick is the person to continue that trend on now a trend and direction that has been off the road now. It is 0-3, and in that division, there is life. I'm not chirping the Texans and the Colts. I'm not chirping those teams. It's just that they're 2-1, 1-2, and a couple 0-3 teams. Okay, it's not like you can't turn this around.
No, it's the division's still wide open.
Exactly.
September hasn't ended yet.
But if you're 0-5, maybe you pull the trigger on Belichick earlier.
And maybe you pull Green Day fans. You just got to wake them up when September ends.
I might keep that.
That was bad, but
I like that.
Honestly, though, since we're here and I've been begging for forgiveness already today, now that Bill Belichick's on like McAfee regularly, I have to say that I don't hate him. Now that he's not associated with the New England Patriots, he is probably the smartest football person I've ever heard talk. Like every time he breaks something down, I get smarter at football.
His
Just
knowledge is
the way
ridiculous.
he sees shit is ridiculous. Like I don't.
And don't
And
get me
then
wrong, Brady's Brady, but Belichick is great too. They were just two monsters. That's why they had so much success. The only person that was able to solve that monster was Eli Manning. Okay, so one of the Mannings did. No offense.
hey, listen, we had to play in the same division as them, so it was either the Patriots or the Colts making it to the Super Bowl. It never could be both.
No, exactly.
And then we got fucked by an onside kick, which is illegal in the NFL now. So there we are.
They should redo that whole game. Go back and everyone out of retirement. They got to redo that game now.
No, that's a topic for a different show. But let's segue into the picks here.
Picks, yes, before we go down a rabbit hole. But Bill Belichick to the Jaguars, check it. I know that isn't factual as you brought up, but I think that's a fit. Let us know if
it's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
So our pick'ems, Justin, you can do the announcement, and I will say EJ will have his picks in. I don't mean to say that word. I try not to really say that too much, but EJ, as I say it again, EJ will have his picks in, and Justin will update. The standings will all be updated. EJ has made his picks the last couple of weeks, but if you tuned into our picks the last couple of weeks, sorry for the week prior to last week. This week it was okay for us, but not as strong as the first week for sure. So Justin,
you came
remind the
listeners
how we did.
So Dave's still in first. Kegger's Gridiron Picks holding it down. 31 wins, 17 losses. EJ in second. The Browns is the Browns. 26 points, so 26 wins, 22 losses. And then myself, Hike's Picks, in third with 25 points. 25 wins, 23 losses. So we'll see if we can shake it up going into week 4 here.
Standings, it's been distance between myself and yourself and EJ has been the same the last couple weeks. I did gain a pick on the both of you last week as I had 8 and you and EJ had 7, but EJ did miss putting in his pick for the first game, but we've reminded him to put in his pick so it's not missed for this week. Justin, I will go first. I will take the honor to go first for the week 4 pick'em. So starting from Thursday, obviously working the way down to the last game of the week. Got the Cowboys over the Giants, Saints over the Falcons, Rams over the Bears, Vikings over the Packers, Sam Darnold, telling you. And Justin, I feel like we should be watching this game this week for a lot of reasons. We might have to have a little bit of a discussion. But the Steelers are going to defeat the Indianapolis Colts this week in Indianapolis. Going to be a good football game. Jets over the Broncos, Eagles over the Buccaneers. Tough decision for me. I felt that was a sneaky pick. One of those picks that are very hard to Baker Mayfield. It's hard to believe the Eagles are this big of favorites in this game. Bengals over the Panthers. I was actually a little nervous about that one too. The Texans over the Jags. Cardinals over the Commanders. Niners over the Patriots in very, very easy fashion. The Raiders over the Browns. I haven't picked the Browns at all this year. Chiefs over the Chargers. Bills over the Ravens. Very tough pick and one of my favorite games of the week. I'm very happy that's a Sunday night game. I think that's great. Titans over the Dolphins. Yes, going the other way. The Levi's. Okay, I'm going that direction. The Lions over the Seahawks. This is definitely the Monday nighter I'll be watching, but Lions are going to walk away in that game. Speaking of the tiebreakers that we select on our pick'ems through Yahoo, 27-14 Lions over the Seahawks. 21-18 Titans over the Dolphins. Most points this week, Dallas. I think they're going to come out hungry this week. I know Justin's not a Dallas fan, but the least points this week, speaking of Bill Belichick's old team, the New England Patriots.
So Justin, we got a big difference in picks here this week.
Love it. Here we go. This is what separates.
I'm going off the rails early this week, trying to get back some wins. So with the NFC East being wide open, and everyone already knows where this is going, I led with too much drama. Giants beating the Cowboys on a Thursday night because fuck the Cowboys, and I want to watch Stephen A. Smith just laugh his balls off at them on Friday. Malik Neighbors is the real deal. So that's what I have to offer on that front. And like the Giants are so bad, what do they have to lose?
And
they make the Cowboys look worse and watch Jerry Jones' head just pop. That's all you got to do.
Fire.
I got Atlanta over New Orleans. Pretty torn on that game, but I think Atlanta's just got screwed over the last little bit. And New Orleans kind of had a brain fart on the weekend there against Philly. Like, good game, just a couple boneheaded plays throughout the game. That was it was good football, just a couple boneheaded plays. Rams over Chicago, Minnesota over Green Bay, Pittsburgh over the Colts. Sorry, got a burp there, everybody. Pittsburgh over the Colts. I know it's not the drama that everyone was looking for. I mean, usually when I do something like this, the Colts win, so maybe that's why I'm doing this.
Hot wings bet. Hot wings bet.
Yeah, we could do that. You want to do 10 hot wings?
10 hot wings.
Public shaming.
Public shaming. Done.
Whoever loses gets the video of them eating the wings and crying like a child.
Yeah, we've done that before on the show. I've lost this bet before.
I'm good with that. Let's do that one.
Deal.
Denver over the Jets, because I'm a believer in Bo Nix after last week.
Oh, Philly, Bo Nix, Oregon guy.
Philly over Tampa. This one's going to rattle some chains too. Carolina over Cincy. Andy Dalton revenge game over the Cincinnati Bengals.
I love it. I do love it. That's a gamble. That's a gamble.
Joe Burrow in his Cody Rhodes costume hasn't been working out for him this season, so I think he's got to do something with the hair to get the groove back, and until he does, it's going to be a rough go. Houston over Jacksonville. This one too, Washington, Arizona, I was a little messed up on, but after last night, Jaden Daniels, let's do it. Washington. San Fran over New England. San Fran's pretty banged up, but New England looked pretty bad last week. So Vegas over Cleveland, because they're going to be real mad about losing to the Panthers. Cleveland should be real mad about losing to the Giants, but I think the team themselves are more mad that they have Deshaun Watson as their quarterback, so they got internal issues to fix before they can win games. KC over the Chargers. Buffalo over Baltimore, because Buffalo's a team right now. I mean, even admittedly so, Patrick Mahomes said he's not playing his best game. I don't think Josh Allen's thrown an interception. People can fact check me on that. I'm not 100%, but I don't think to this point he's thrown an interception this year. So looks good. And honestly, if he's not passing, he'll run through you. Should be a good matchup, but I think Buffalo wins. Titans over the Dolphins. Will 501 fuck-ups Levis should, this is a pretty roughed up Miami squad. Maybe he can pull it together here and get a win. Detroit over Seattle. Scores for the games. I got Detroit 28, Seattle 18, Tennessee 21, Miami 6. Most points this week, Buffalo. Fewest points this week, the Dolphins.
Love that. Very different picks. And to fact check you, Josh Allen has not thrown an interception yet this year.
Really? Yeah. Okay, so
you're right.
That's pretty good.
You're right. Well, that is the picks, and this can alter standings going into next week, depending on what EJ selects.
That's what I'm going for.
And I actually don't mind some of those gamble picks, including the Carolina one. I think that is, if Cincinnati loses to Carolina, there is going to be problems.
My DraftKings account will be very happy with me if that happens.
And if the Cowboys lose this week too, there's another program that's going to be going bananas. Okay. Dare we start the train of Joe Burrow for Dak Prescott trades? Dare we start that rumor on this show? No, we don't want to go there. I don't think it's going to happen. I wanted to start a rumor. Maybe that's not the right rumor to start.
I want to see the Cowboys bench Dak after they just paid him and put Trey Lance in.
Trey Lance comes out like Sam Darnold and Justin Fields and has a little bit of a show.
I don't think so. He's playing for the Cowboys. It's still going to be a mess. But
So, game of the week for me, like I said, Bills and Ravens. Very excited about that. I think that's a good lineup this week in the NFL. This season has been great up to this point. So
honestly, I don't think we should sleep on that Colts-Steelers game, though. No. Justin Fields kind of looks like the real deal there.
System, organization, and system. That is what works. Structure.
It's a structure. That's exactly.
I'm not used to that with any team I cheer for, except like the Raptors.
He's a very good, pretty good quarterback, and we saw it at times in Chicago. But Chicago, what the fuck goes on there? There's not.
I said it that I don't think the Steelers' schedule was too insane to the point of where they would not be out of games, like against teams that are powerhouses, being the Chiefs, being the Bills. These types.
They just need them to manage the game. your defense is pretty good. Like as long as the offense doesn't fuck up, you guys can win most games, or at least go 8-8, so you don't have a losing record.
Mike Tomlin would love that. But I think the Steelers, based on the track that they're going, they could be realistically on the games that they play 7-2, 9 games in. Realistically, given the way they're playing and who they play, that doesn't mean I think they're going to be. It's just based on how things are progressing.
It's football. It's crazy. Anything can happen.
Anything can change. Anything can change. Justin, in the pocket, Always a blast, always fun. Doing this podcast, always fun. Every episode is fun. Every episode has its own unique taste and ingredient to what makes that show, that respective segment, whatever it is, great. It doesn't matter if it's me, you, EJ, me, Alex, Dane, me, you, and Avery, whoever we
anybody and everybody.
And now we have a new member join our team within the next week or two, which is great as we continue to expand our roster with our team. We have a couple casuals, haven't been on a few years, but we got a lot of people that contribute to all the shows that are the main courses, yourself, Alex, Dane, EJ, and we hope this individual will be doing that as well. And before, I want to save kind of the best news for last, Alex Flood. I wanted to give him a shout out. The big reason for Alex, for us giving him a shout out is, I don't know if people remember this, but for a lot of this, for all the basically for 30 plus special edition shows, as yours truly was learning how to do the editing and use this. Now we use Riverside, spoiler alert. A lot of people do use it. I believe New Heights uses it too. Spoiler, just throwing that out there. As before I learned how to do editing and programs got more, especially enhanced, and I had the ability to learn, Alex was always there for this show, did all the editing out of all of his time for this show, basically a silent producer. For this show for multiple years, and did editing for the 91 and the announcement show, all the special edition shows. When it came to doing our first set of videos, when Mike Tassoni wasn't doing it, who now has not transitioned to continue doing it with us, but Alex Flood did the core of all the special edition shows, which was well over 35, 40 shows, which is hours of time for editing. So Alex has accepted a job in Toronto, which is opening up another Suit-A-Day type thing in Toronto today. And Alex Flood is taking a position there in Toronto to be a part of reporting and journalism there in Toronto. So obviously people in Toronto are going to know what Suit-A-Day means. So when they speak of spaces where we'll be on, that should make sense to you. But congratulations to Alex Flood. He is still a member of our
getting
family.
A good one.
Yes, they are. And they're getting somebody who is still a member of the Game Sports Podcast family, technically. Ultimately, we thank Alex for his contribution to everything that he's done for the show. Obviously, his focus is going to be there, and obviously, if I reached out to him, I know he would help, but I will not. I plan to not have to do that because of everything they know that he's influenced me on and helped with the show. But he'll still be, if I can ever have him on the show as a guest or to talk, I will certainly do so, especially just to catch up and for him to talk hockey. And he's a Vancouver Canucks fan, so maybe there'll be some stuff for him to talk about. But again, from the family here at the game, I want to say thank you to Alex for everything that he's done with all the editing, and I appreciate everything that he's done to guide me and to help guide the show and program into the right direction, because he is a big part of our video transition and change, Justin. He was a big part of it and still is, and still will always be. Thanks again to Alex and congratulations. I want to make sure I gave him a couple minutes shout out because he deserved it for the amount of time that he put in to this show for us. Good luck on your next endeavors. Sort of you just moving from the Suit-A here to Toronto today, but that's going to be a good opportunity for you there. And as Justin said, Toronto has gotten a good one. So Justin, thank you very much, my friend, for taking the time to come on as always. Next week, as we plan for the next couple weeks, we're still going to be doing one show a week. We don't know how the schedule is going to look forward, when we're going to go back to 2 shows a week. We don't know when that transition is going to happen. So we are going to be sticking to 1 show a week, just so everyone is aware. And we hope you enjoyed tonight's show. But Justin, as always, thanks, my friend.
Good to be here. Good to get everything out of my system. Rant early in the week while everything's still fresh. I'm kind of liking this format. So it's good, and it's going to be good to be talking hockey again soon.
Yes, it is, and obviously we do what we can to make our experience for you better as a viewer and listener. We know that people don't like commercials, and we're going to be looking at advertisements in a different direction so it doesn't interrupt our content with you and has uninterrupted content. Obviously, if we have guests in between, we have to do spaces, but we have to do splits in between the show. But
just
normally
get people to start giving me hats. Where are the hats?
There you go. Pretty soon we need to have the new merch for our show. We've been getting that message too. Yes, I've been on it for a couple years. I'm delayed. I'm trying to figure out the right merch to get us and how we want to do it. It's going to happen. Give it time. It's coming. Okay. There's been other projects we've been working on the show and in life. So again, thanks to Justin. Thank you to everyone taking the time to make us a part of your day, your night, whenever you listen to us. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. And don't hesitate to like, follow, and subscribe if it's on here. Here being if you're listening on the video on 91N, or here if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Or if you were clicked here based on the TikTok TikTok upload or Instagram or Facebook. Look, a simple follow, a simple like, a simple interaction, a subscribe doesn't, obviously, if you have an account, doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't do anything to you. It supports people like myself and Justin that love to do what we do, and we love to have the interaction. So make sure if you're taking the time to listen to us that you are subscribing to our contents, because a lot of big things coming.
Please like, follow, and subscribe so I can buy more Lego sets.
Yes, I need to have a background like Justin's. That's just great, inspirational. But I want to say thank you to everyone again, and thank you to Justin. And until next week, I'm here to remind you, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bats, catch your touchdowns, train your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.